Ripley.
When Zoe Stark lost to Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series War Games, the response from most fans was probably, yeah, that wasn't surprising, she put up a good fight, but what it did represent is a much larger problem in the women's division right now. A good problem, but a problem nonetheless. It's Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin. Let's get into the comments below. What do you think of the WWE women's picture right now going into the end of 2023? If you've watched WWE for years, with them having so much content, weekly shows, different rosters, you find yourself saying, oh wow, the roster on this show is better than the roster on that show. And it seems like some people are saying that with SmackDown over Raw right now, specifically with the women's division. And you wouldn't be wrong in thinking that. Look at some of the female stars on the SmackDown roster right now. Io Sky, she's been killing it. Bayley is an incredible personality. Dakota Kai is one of the best supporting characters in WWE right now. Asuka, no one's ready for her. Kairi Sane is back. Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, woo! Shotzi, she showed off at Survivor Series. And Zelina Vega's had a big year as well. The roster on SmackDown is much smaller than the one on Raw for some obvious reasons we'll get into later, but it feels more stacked than Monday Night Raw, which outnumbers the SmackDown women's roster by 22-15. But SmackDown Live in 2016 was a perfect example of how you don't need more to have a better program. So what would be possible for the reason behind the rather somewhat lackluster overall Raw women's division? There might be a bit of a Rhea Ripley problem in Raw's women's division. She stands out as far and ahead the #1 female performer in WWE today, and she is over with all different corners of the internet. Even casual fans that aren't watching WWE every week ask me about, hey, what's going on with Rhea? That happened to me the other night at a bar. It wasn't an intentional effort by WWE to only have Rhea be the central focus, but it's something that's organically happened online and on screen. Let's look at Rhea Ripley's year compared to maybe even a top star like Becky Lynch. While Becky Lynch was busy first teaming up and then feuding with Trish Stratus before becoming NXT Women's Champion for the first time, which was also really cool to watch, Rhea Ripley's year swept that away. She won the Women's Royal Rumble, had probably the best women's match in WWE this year against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, and won big, and became the first new lineage champion in that WWE World Champion line. Most importantly, she got more TV time than mostly every other WWE superstar you could think of. Yeah, maybe even most of the men didn't get as much exposure as she did on Monday Night Raw every week. Add to the fact that many consider the de facto leader of the Judgment Day to be her, it's allowed her to regularly be on par with male superstars, something that not a lot of other women get to do in WWE. WWE tried adding a few threats to her title reign, like Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez, but they aren't on the same level of popularity or simply just invigorating the imagination of fans. The biggest issue that Raw's women's division face is beyond Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. There really aren't any established stars that feel like a serious threat to Ripley, and that's the problem. With WWE obviously delaying the inevitable Ripley versus Becky Lynch match for a bigger stage, WrestleMania, and it makes it feel a bit like filler, not killer. Realistically speaking, the Raw women's division should be better. There are a lot of young, bright, brimming talent with potential there. Some names like Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile, Tegan Knox, Raquel Rodriguez, Indy Hartwell, Chelsea Green, just to name a few. They're there waiting in the rings. You could argue that it's even better to have a roster filled with young, hungry stars we've seen than stars like Maxine who simply just haven't proven themselves just yet, but show a lot of promise and potential for the future. Of course, this isn't to discredit the importance of having experienced veterans on the roster, it's just a matter of circumstances, fresh matchups, something new, some different dynamics. The solution here isn't to fix the lack of depth, because that isn't the problem. It's simply to make people care more about the stars who are paired together and why they are paired together. And to do that, we're going to have to see a lot of emphasis on non-championship feuds between women on Raw. Simply not chasing a prize or a title, but going after each other over a very personal issue. The reality is that's actually a gem of a division that needs a lot more than one superstar getting pushed on a 3-hour show every week and, maybe a little bit more serious meat on the bone storylines for some of those other women. What do you think? How should WWE change things for the women on Raw? Let us know in the comments below.